COVID vaccine. You know, the miracle drug that almost eliminates your risk of death from COVID and lets Dr. Fauci record your dreams. So let's catch up on the latest news on the vaccine in our ongoing segment, Vaccination Nation. Back when the vaccines first came out, demand for them was huge. They were basically harder to find than a Republican congressman who admits Joe Biden won. But not enough people wanted to voluntarily save their lives. So then the problem became how to convince the holdouts to get vaccinated, which is why recently everyone from the federal government to airlines and hospitals have been introducing vaccine mandates. You want to work here? You got to get the shots. But it turns out people don't like being told what to do. It's the same reason that when Moses first brought down the 10 Commandments, everyone immediately started coveting each other's wives. Well, I wasn't gonna covet Terry's wife, but now that you mentioned her, damn. And for everyone who doesn't want to be forced to take the vaccine, the governor of Texas is definitely on their side.
Governor Abbott is going up against President Biden issuing an executive order banning COVID-19 vaccine mandates. The governor says no entity, including private businesses, can require the vaccine for employees or customers. In a statement, the governor said the vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should remain voluntary and never forced.
Okay. It's an interesting tactic. I mean, it's a little weird that he knows the vaccine is our best defense, but he still wants to let people opt out. We want to give COVID a fighting chance. Wouldn't be sporting otherwise. And you know, it's funny how Republican governors like Abbott always say the government should never tell private businesses how to do things, and then they do just that when it's in their political interest. You know, it's like that one friend we have who's like, I think we should try and be vegetarian, unless it's the popcorn chicken. Yeah, I mean, meat is murder, but in this case, pass the hot sauce. And I'm not gonna lie. I've always found it weird that governors in America are like mini presidents. This is a very strange thing to me coming from another country. Because the president of America issues a mandate. And now this guy who's in charge of a piece of America gets to undo what the president said? Like, can you imagine if a manager at Kinko's said, all right, everybody, let's make these copies. And then the assistant manager was like, nah, B, we producing Viagra now. Can you do that? Well, that's for the courts to decide. Yeah, we're making dicks hard, yo. But hey, as it stands, right now in Texas, you can't get mandated to have the vaccine. But here in New York, it's the opposite. And you know who just learned that the hard way? Kyrie Irving, the Brooklyn Nets star and one of the only people who can wear a shirt that says Brooklyn without looking like a tourist. He's been refusing to get vaccinated, even though that means he wouldn't be able to play in his home arena. So today, the Brooklyn Nets told him that if he doesn't play home games, they're not going to let him play any games. And just guess how much that's going to cost him.
And now to breaking news involving Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving. The team has decided that their point guard will not play or practice until he gets vaccinated for COVID-19. Irving was last seen at an outdoor practice over the weekend at Brooklyn Bridge Park. He is expected to lose, get this, about $380,000 per game if he doesn't get a shot.
$380,000 per game! Per game! Yo, to put that in perspective, it would take Elon Musk 1.3 seconds to make that much money. I don't think that worked, actually. Yeah, I need to stop measuring things in Elon Musk. That really doesn't help. But I actually respect Kyrie for this, man. You know? Because that's how you know he's doing it on principles. Right? He's like, I'm willing to lose this money because this is what I believe. Because there are some anti-vaxxers out there who are just doing it out of spite. You know, they hate Fauci, they hate Biden. But I bet if you offered them $380,000, they'd be snorting that vaccine all day. They're like, Fauci! And it's funny how it seems like the Nets were quick to suspend him too. You know, this is one of the problems with being on a super team like the Nets. Any other team would have begged Kyrie, you know? But this, it takes away all your leverage. He was like, what are you going to do if I don't play, huh? Rely on Kevin Durant and James Harden, two of the greatest scorers of all time? Yeah. Damn, I didn't think of that. Now, what's really crazy about this is that the vaccine hesitators are saying that there hasn't been enough time with the vaccines. That's why they don't want to get them. But it's already been so long that people who got vaccinated early are now getting booster shots. Yeah, unvaccinated people are getting lapped right now. And you'd think that would motivate them to try and catch up, but apparently it is just making them even more hesitant.
According to a Kaiser survey, the confusion over the booster just reinforces the unvaccinated population to stay, well, unvaccinated.
One unvaccinated man in Ohio told the Times, quote, "It seems like such a short time and people are already having to get boosters." And the fact that they didn't realize that earlier in the rollout shows me that there could be other questions that there could be out there.
Okay. You know, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I can see where many of these people are coming from. Right? Just think about it. You told me this was the greatest vaccine of all time, but now 10 months later, I've got to get a new one? I mean, we expect that from Apple, not medicine. At the same time, though, there's nothing unusual about needing a vaccine booster. And not just vaccines, everything on Earth needs a booster. It's not always a conspiracy theory. Nothing lasts forever. You know, sometimes I think these are the same people who would walk in on their family eating dinner and be like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Didn't y'all eat yesterday? I'm starting to think this whole food thing is a scam. And by the way, it's important to remember that vaccine hesitancy is only a problem in the rich countries that have the vaccine. Because right now, there's countries all over the world that can't afford it. And they're looking through the window at the buffet like, oh, could you please bring me out a French fry and a vaccine? In fact, some people have been saying that the pharmaceutical companies should share the vaccine formula with developing countries to allow them to produce it more cheaply. And today, one of those companies, Moderna, responded to that by saying, and I quote, "Hell no."
Moderna now refusing to share the formula for its COVID vaccines, dismissing calls for the company to do so in order to boost supply in poorer countries. The chairman and co-founder of the company saying that instead of sharing the formula, it would be more reliable and efficient for Moderna to scale production itself.
Okay, look, man, I get it. Moderna is a business, and they want to make money themselves. But at least come up with a better excuse, you know, like that the vaccine formula is an old family recipe. You can be like, oh, I'd love to give it to you, but my grandmother brought it with her from the old country, you know? And be like, the vaccine was invented last year. Yeah, my grandmother, she just got here last year, but it's an old family recipe. And yeah, it is a business, but their product could also save millions of lives. And you just wish that they would want to use their powers for good. I mean, imagine if superheroes had the same profit motives as these pharmaceutical companies. I can tell you now, those movies would be hella different.
Help me, Superman!
How much money do you have?
Not much.
Actually, I kind of like that movie.